What's up, Pyromaniacs? Pyrostasis here. We're back in the world of Beyond Reality, and we're going to be making, I guess, a couple advancements today. Last episode, we set up our little setup that we've got going down here, which is, it's nice. It's pretty. It's semi-functional. The problem that we're running into with this setup here is, as you guys can see, we're out of steam. And I'm pretty sure it's throttling our two machines here. So we need more steam, because we need to be able to move this stuff a little bit quicker than we are. So what we're going to try and do today is upgrade our boiler. Now, if we go to boilers, you're going to see there's a series of boilers. Obviously, we can get into railcraft and things like that later, but we're not going to touch that one for now, because that takes an absolutely ridiculous amount of steam. An absolutely ridiculous amount of steam. So we're going to try this or not that one. Where is it? Yeah. I think it is this one. Faster than the bronze boiler, the high pressure coal boiler. The difference between it and this one is supposedly it produces more steam. Supposedly. I don't know if there's any truth to that. We're going to kind of find that out now. And if I'm wrong, it's going to kind of make me a little butthurt. But, such is life. The whole life is all about getting butthurt in one way or another, right? No? That's just me? All right, well, fuck it. So what we need to do is we need to make some steel plates. Thankfully, we've got some steel here. I'm hoping steel works the same way. So we need 5 of these. There we go. That leaves us with 22, which is still a fairly decent amount. We slam that, and now we have 5 steel plates. Put you here. We put 1, 2, and now we go, whoops, wrong grab. Put those up like that. And that's going to give us a high pressure coal boiler. Now, one of the problems that we've been running into is we're kind of running a little light on coal. And by that, I mean we don't quite have enough coal to keep everything running. I mean, we've got some, but, over time, we're going to be kind of running into some issues because it kind of sucks to keep having to go upstairs and get a shit ton of trees and then bring them back down and, smelt them down and then rinse and repeat. And, it's just kind of dull, a little annoying. We do, however, have quite a bit of this coal ore. Now, the nice thing about this coal ore... Oh, and I apologize, I've got the sound off. I can turn the sound on if you guys really care about it, but GregTech machines are a little loud. We'll go ahead and turn this on so you guys can enjoy that real quick. I should be triggering... Of course, my audio is apparently completely dead, so I'm not hearing anything, but you guys will be hearing it. Sorry about that. Either way, we're going to go ahead and turn it off for now. Reason why is since we're going to be down here, it just gets a little annoying, and I think you guys will appreciate that in the long run. All right, so we've got that in there. We're going to go ahead and pop some of this out. We're going to put some in here. We're going to let this start cooking up, and we're going to see what's going to happen once this thing fires up. However, just because we've got some of the stuff doesn't mean we have enough bronze fluid pipes to handle this. So let's look at the bronze fluid pipes again. We're going to want to get probably 2 of these. So we're going to need 6 bronze plates. We've got a lot of copper. We've only got 2 of these. We got some more copper dust here, and we got some tin, but we don't quite have enough copper dust to actually get anywhere with anything. And that's going to give us 10, which we don't really need at the moment. So we're going to pull these copper ingots out. We're going to go ahead and put this copper ore in here and let that smelt down. Reason we're doing that is we can't do anything with non-shredded copper anyway. The dusts can't be combined to make bronze, or at least any way that I'm aware of. So we kind of have to turn it into an ingot, and then once it's an ingot, we can break it down and kind of go from there. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And unfortunately, even if I were to yank this off, we still don't have enough to quite get all the way over here to grab that. Whoa, this thing is burning some fuel like crazy. Holy shit, Batman. All right, so we're going to put that in there. We're going to go ahead and burn some of these trees. That way we can get some charcoal. Hopefully. That's the hope. That's the deep hope. Anyways, I'm going to let this all grind up. Here in a second, I'm going to put some of this copper in here. That's going to allow us to get some powdered copper, well, pulverized copper, and then or copper dust. We can use that to combine with tin dust to make some bronze, and then we can connect this and see how well that does, if it increases our performance, etc., etc. All right, so we've got this thing cooking up. It's making some stuff. We've made a little bit of bronze. I think I have enough to connect this machine. Now, I need to be careful with this because GregTech well, I mean, I guess IC2 in general, you have the ability, rarely, to blow yourself to hell. And not in a good way. Not that there really, I guess there really isn't a good way to blow yourself to hell now that I think about it. Pretty much always a bad idea. Unless you're really crazy. One of the things I did notice, you guys may be noticing there's a hole in the back here. That's because these things apparently need a vent hood or vent hole. There we go. This little symbol right here usually means its vent hole, or whatever you want to call it, is blocked. Now, this one should be venting out its back. That's what this little slot's for. What I'm confused about is it starts and then it stops. And I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know why it keeps resetting. I'm not sure what the problem is. So I'm thinking maybe it has to do because we don't have enough steam going to it. Maybe. I'm not sure. So here in a second, we're going to be able to hook up some more steam power to it because that high pressure boiler over there is just about fully loaded, assuming this thing will finally macerate. I'm pretty sure I'm just running on a rather nasty deficit when it comes to these things. Of course, I just realized I'm about to frickin' starve to death. I may have to run upstairs and grab myself a snack real quick. In fact, let's go ahead and do that before I die. Oh, come on. Home. There we go. Do still have the sound off. Again, hopefully you guys don't mind too much. I know some of you guys hate repetitive noises, and that's pretty much all we have right now is repetitive noises. But you do get to listen to the wonderful sound of my voice. That's what you're all here for, right? Right? Okay, well, 2 of you raised your hands, so I love those 2 of you, but the rest of you guys, y'all are mean buttholes. I just want you to know that. All right, so we're going to put the copper in here. Guess I could have done this while I was going to get food, huh? Yeah, probably. All right, let's eat up real quick. There we go. Nom. Silent eating. See, I have some manners. I can eat silently. All right, so we're going to be making this one right here, the up and down big bad mamma jamma tube, which I'm looking forward to making. All right, come over here, drop that there, boom. Put the hammer back up. Now we got our plates. Switch you to here. Where's the wrench? Put you up top, and we're going to do 2. I guess I could have just drugged that like that, huh? Whoa. Why are these the small ones? You should be the big... Okay, that's just really weird. That's fine. Not going to complain. All right, let's run down here and let's hook this up and see what happens. I just hope we don't have an explosion because that would really make me bummed. All right, so now they're connected. Apparently we have some rather large tubes over there. So this seems to be working pretty much about the same. This seems to be working now. So I'm assuming there just wasn't enough pressure. So how are we doing over here? Wow, we're draining pressure like crazy. That's kind of a bummer, actually. Damn it! I was sure that was going to be enough steam. God, these things are fucking hungry, man. These are like a bunch of hungry hippos. It's just not cool. You're a professional steam boiler, sir. Both of these are maxed out, and we're still not producing enough. God! That's hateful, man. That is hateful. I mean, it's working better than it was before. I mean, at least this thing is kind of processing. So, I mean, I can't completely complain, but... Well, I guess that's working actually significantly better. So we must have been just running on, like, fumes. Just absolute fumes. Jesus. Oh, well. You know, progress is progress. So now that we have the macerator running, we can macerate everything. We've got the furnace running, which means we can furnace-erize things. There's going to be a few other machines that we're going to want to get. Let's see, where are they? Actually, they may not be called bronze now that I think about it. Yeah, they're definitely not going to be called... is it extractor? There's a hammer. Let's do the hammer one. I think the hammer's the one we want. There we go. The Steam Forge Hammer. This is going to be the other machine that we want. What this is basically going to allow us to do is kind of bypass all of the... Wow, you can actually macerate a Steam Forge Hammer? Really? So I'm a little scared of the anvil. Oh! What? Okay, now I'm just shocked. I can't believe he didn't change the anvil recipe. I kind of expected the anvil recipe to be, I don't know, made out of like virgin fairy feathers or something, just completely ridiculously random and whatnot. But apparently not. Apparently not. Anyways, as I was saying, you can notice that right there, it just spat something out. These machines do have to have a vent hole. See, that one just spit out some steam. This one will do the same thing. My question is, since it's technically venting steam, does anybody know if I can plug this shit back into the steam pipe and, like, I guess maintain some of that energy? Or does it have to be its own, like, separate stuff? If anybody knows, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. So we are going to be letting most of this stuff kind of grind up and do its stuff. I am pretty happy to have this ability to kind of burn some things up and move a little bit faster. So let's go see how much iron ore we have. I want to showcase just kind of the amount of ridiculous resources that we have. Where is it? Okay, so all of this yellowite, or lemonite, I guess it is, can be macerated. And then this can be turned into... Oh, well, if you macerate it again, it gets turned into impure pile of dust. And then that can be smelted into iron. So basically, I have to double grind all of this. All of this. But the good news is, that's a shit ton of iron. That's a shit ton of iron. The other nice thing is we do have a fairly decent amount of yellowite. Well, actually, no, I guess we only have about a stack and a half of yellowite. Either way, this is the fuel for big reactors. Now, we will be using some of this stuff in big reactors from here on. I think it's a fuel source, if I recall. But we're going to need to get into some of these reactors and some reactor controllers and things. Now, to get into this stuff, we're going to need a lot of steel, and then we're going to need graphite bars. Graphite, I don't think I actually have much graphite. In fact, I don't know if we have any graphite, which is kind of scary because graphite is something that we absolutely need a ridiculous amount of. So the question is there another way to make graphite? And I think there probably is. Let's go ahead and do the little search here again. There we go. So graphite bars can be gotten from... All right, let's do an R on it. Can be done from graphite ore. Okay, well, that's not going to really work for us. What else can we do it with? Graphite dust. Okay, graphite dust can... Charcoal can be turned into graphite bars. Perfect. Perfect. So all we need now is an alloy smelter. So that brings to question... How nasty is an alloy smelter? So alloy smelter is going to need 3 furnaces. That's not a big deal. It's going to need 4 blocks of iron. Well, we've got the iron. That's not a big deal. We've already got a cauldron, but we're going to have plenty of iron to make the iron plates with. So the question is, what's so bad about a machine chassis? That's going to require steel. Not a big deal. This is gold, copper, and redstone. So looks like the alloy smelter is our next stop because that's going to allow us to, number one, make alloys without having to grind everything up all the time, which is definitely a bonus. The problem with the alloy smelter is I don't think it works with anything other than RF. So the question is, can it run on steam? And I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be a hell no. A loud, roarous hell no. But we can hope, right? We can all hope. Are you all hoping with me? Pretty sure we're all going to be very, very, very disappointed because I'm pretty sure it only works on RF, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start processing some of this iron ore. Once we get enough, we're going to see if we can't throw an alloy smelter together, unless I can find another way to do it. All right, so doing some research, you know, I don't always do research, but I did this time, and thank God I did, because there is actually a high pressure. Well, there's 2 types of steam alloy smelters. There's the normal one and there's the high pressure. I'm assuming the high pressure is a little bit less shitty than the other one. But since we're kind of running short on shit, we're going to go with the shitty version because, you know what, reasons. And I don't care. That, and it will save me a few billion hours of waiting on this stupid machine. This literally, like, I'm literally going to be an old man by the time, and I know a couple of you are like, you already are. Fuck you people. Fuck you people. When you're over 30, you will realize 30 is not old. Of course, I'll probably say the same thing when I'm 50, but you know what? Fuck y'all anyway. Fuck y'all anyway. Anyways, we're going to make the alloy smelter. I have no idea if I can make graphite with this thing. I have no idea if we even need graphite. I think if we go down the path of big reactors, we may actually be bypassing to some extent some of the Greg tech. But I would like to try it because I would like to have enough juice to maybe move to the EU phase fairly quickly. And I think big reactors might be a cheap way to kind of, jump things around. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So we're going to have to find out. We're going to have to find out. And the only way to do that is, well, to fucking do it. So to get to the alloy smelter, we are going to need some of these little shitty small pipes. Thankfully, we only need 6 of them, which really isn't that bad. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. So we need to come over here to our little machine thing. And we need 6. We're going to go ahead and put 9 in there, but I'm not going to do all of them. Well, actually, you know what? We're going to pretty much need them all, aren't we? Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't think there's any other thing we're going to possibly do with these, so we might as well just go ahead and use them, mate. All right, so that's the small bronze fluid pipes. That's what we need. Pull those out. All right, so we've got that. What's next? All right, so we need 2 furnaces and then a bronze brick block. Good God, or a bronze brick hull, whatever. So we need 5 more of these. Unfortunately, we've only got 3. Damn it to hell. I do believe we have the 2 furnaces, though. Yes, we do. And then the other part was what? It is just this. And thankfully, we have the bricks. So we're good to go. We're good to go. We just need to come down here and snark. That's the official scientific term, by the way, for those of you guys who are curious. We need to snark some more bronze, which thankfully we've got right there. That knocks us up to 3. That's going to give us 4. That's not quite enough. Not quite enough. We're getting close, though. We're getting close. Thankfully, it seems like we've actually managed to produce more steam than these 2 machines are using, which is good. The problem is, as soon as we hook up another machine, I think we're going to be in a deficit again, and I'm going to have to hook up some more. I don't know what these 2 slots down here are for. Sadly, there's not a whole lot of information out there about Greg Tech that I can find, and some of it's like outdated, so I'm not sure. I haven't actually been able to find this GUI anywhere, so it's probably just me. Knowing me, I'm a little retarded, but one of the things I am kind of good at is Google Foo, and so far my Google Foo is kind of letting me down here. So I'm thinking maybe it's not just me. I don't know. I do like the furnace though. The furnace seems to move a lot faster. I do kind of want to build like 14 of them though, at least maybe 15. The macerators though I think are what's really slowing us down. So, oh well, is what it is. All right, let's jump back up here. Hopefully our little iron hammer will hold up for a moment. There we go. And then we put, I think it's 3 like that. We put the hammer, I think, in the middle. Then we go like this, and that gives us our bronze thingy. Perfect. And then I believe, damn it, what's the recipe for this thing? Perfect. So we'll go just like that. Put you there, and then badooshk. We have our steamed alloy smelter. Perfect. Unfortunately, we're going to have a problem of connecting it to anything. That's kind of a big problem too. Because, if you don't have pipes, it's not going to work. I'm going to go ahead and snark this because we're going to hopefully turn this into graphite here in a second. Now, I guess what I can do is we can be a little silly here. I don't know if I want to be silly. I could hook it up on that wall there, or I could hook it up here. I could also hook it up here, but if I hook it up there, I can't get to the water anymore, and we're definitely going to need the water, because I'm just going to need more water. If I put it up here, I don't know if I can move the Greg Tech machine later. I mean, I know I can, but Greg Tech has one of those awful, horrible ways of sometimes making you blow things up when you try and move them, and I don't really want to do that. So I guess what we're going to do is we're just going to set it down right here. That makes sense. And there we go. So we can now see in here. So I'm assuming now I could put copper in here and tin directly in here, and that will make bronze, which means I can bypass all of this stupid grinding shit now, which makes me so ungodly happy. Like my future children are dancing is how happy I am over this. So we need a couple things real quick before we can do that. I need to find some tin ingots, and I don't know if I actually have tin ingots because I may have processed all my tin because it doesn't do us any good right now to have tin. Whoa! Okay, I kind of lost myself there for a second. Okay, so it does look like we don't have any 10 processed. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to just test this real fast. We need to test it with a couple different things, but we're going to put, let's just do it with one. Just do it with one for now. That ought to be enough. If this works, then we'll fire in a shit ton more in there, obviously. We've got a bunch of copper. We've got some copper dust. So we'll go boom, boom, boom. Put you in there. That's going to give us 3 more. That's going to give us 6 total bronze, which is exactly how much we need. Okay, now this right here should make, when I hook it up and connect it, should make bronze. If that will make bronze, it's going to save us some time. So I'm really, really hoping it will. I'm pretty sure it will. The other thing is, the question that we need to really ask ourselves is, can we, like the alloy smelter here, different alloy smelter, but like this alloy smelter, can we use it to combine and get graphite? If I can, then it's going to be really easy for us to make the jump into big reactors. Now, big reactors are one of those things that they're multi-block structures. They're huge. Well, they can be huge. They can also be small. But they can kind of scale up. So you have to kind of get a baby reactor before you can get a big reactor, and then you kind of got to gently move into the setup. So we're going to kind of do that slowly over the next couple of minutes. Anyways, let me process this for a minute to get us a couple more bronze ingots so we can make one more pipe. We'll get that set up, and we'll see what happens. All right, so we have made enough of these to get the next batch. Did break my hammer making them, which kind of makes me a sad panda, but you know. Oh well. Easily replaced. Now the good news is I do have an extra little tank here. I'm curious to see how this is going to connect. That's kind of interesting. So now that we've got that hooked up here, the question is, are we going to see any movement here? And I'm not seeing it. Do I have to reverse it? There we go! Beautiful! So it does look like I can make bronze at this point fairly easily, which is good because pretty much all of the maceration process ends up with copper ingots, which I then had to remacerate. So basically I've just cut one of the whole steps out, which is great because I can make holy shit. Not only that, but I make 1 extra bronze ingot too. When you do the manual combination with the dusts, you only get 3. So this way you get a full-blown 4, which I gotta say is kind of ballin' outrageous. Okay, so the final question then is, can I use this like I can use the other alloy smelter to make graphite? That is the real question. So I'm gonna put that there. We're gonna give it a sec. Actually, you know what? We'll put a whole stack there just to see what happens. Now, it's a good sign that I can put charcoal there, but something tells me I can probably put charcoal in there anyway. So the question then is, look at their alloy smelter. See, it's just a different alloy smelter. I don't think it's going to work. I'm almost positive it's not. Good God, there's a lot of shit you can do with this. Damn. Steel, yep, not showing any other way. So something tells me this is not going to function for us. Yep, we're not seeing any movement. We're still at 22. If I move it over here, we're at 22. Not getting any graphite. If I press U on this, the only way we're getting graphite is, oh, well shit, by just normal smelting. So I can't alloy smelt it, but now that I think about it, I guess I don't really have to. I can just put these in here and we'll get graphite all day long. So I guess that's good. So I just built an extra machine that I technically didn't have to build, but we would have ended up building it regardless anyway. The good news is, though, we now have a way better way to make bronze, which makes me a very, very happy panda. That should speed our processes up quite a bit because I no longer have to double macerate, which makes me a very happy camper. And we should be making some good progress from here on. So I am going to be probably processing all this stuff over the next couple of videos, hopefully getting it all squared away and done. Do need to keep these two things well maintained and full of steam and water so that we don't run out of stuff with our machines. But yeah, I think in the next couple episodes, we may start making a move towards some form of large-scale mining automation, maybe with a railcraft tunnel bore, or we may look into trying to make the jump to an ender quarry or a quarry, but I'm pretty sure both of those are going to require some top-end GregTech stuff to even do. So in that instance, what we'll probably end up doing is just come up here and make a bunch of steel, which I can show you guys is pretty easy to do. In fact, I think we may even have some steel in here. We'll make a bunch of steel. Really? And then we'll make a mana steel axe, and then we'll start upgrading our Botania so that we can mine faster. I believe that thing will mine like a bat out of hell. I think. If not, we can probably make the jump to Terra Steel, and I believe that actually has some very similar properties to Tinker's and Project E, and that it can just absolutely destroy things. So, but anyways, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. If you do, please slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next clip.